I'll say I love someone before I say I trust them. I loved a lot of people, but the only person I've ever really trusted was my big brother. He would fight for me when people would call me a queer or a faggot. He just called me his sister. He was all I had. When I found out I was HIV positive, I thought I was broken. I didn't want to be in my skin. When I think about it, that was the day I could no longer get up and paint on a pretty face. Pretty hurts. I told my brother I was positive the last time we were together. He started crying. He was like, "No way." We were smoking a joint and I was worried he would be scared to share the weed with me. But he was like, "That's nothing. Why you tripping?" He didn't care. When his daughter was born, on February 7th, 2011, he begged me to stay. He said, "You gotta be here." I spent hours trying to pick out the perfect dress for her. When he held his daughter, he looked so proud. He glowed. My brother died June 24th, 2011. I used to think that his life didn't matter, that he didn't make his mark in this world, but he really changed our world. He gave us a baby. I didn't realize how much power he had. I felt the weight of the world when he was gone. They threw the mattress he died on outside. Late at night, I would find myself there, and that's how I fall asleep. After he died, I felt like I had a hole. I felt alone. I kept trying to fill that hole with drugs and men. I just thought, I'm going to use drugs until I die. I just wanted someone to love me like he did. I hadn't been on an HIV med until I met my doctor. He makes me feel comfortable. The clinic is a home to me. They love me. I've never had that. So now I stay on my regimen. I go to counseling. My mission in life is to eventually have my niece. Someone's got to be there when she graduates, when she gets married. She's my brother's legacy and my namesake. I've got to be able to take care of the only thing he left in this world. I want her to be proud of me, so I'm taking care of me. I trust myself. I'm learning.
Hi.
Say hi. Hi, my love. Hi, baby. Mwah.
I love you, dear.
I love you too. Mwah.
I tell the scariest parts of my story first, so that people know not to get too attached. When people hear my stories, and I have many, they see a small part of the experiences that have shaped me as a black transgender person. But they don't have a clue about how to recognize the true George. I was 17 when I went to Vietnam. Many years before I started taking hormones or my AIDS diagnosis. My first night in the jungle, I was on a search and destroy mission. I got lost because it was so dark at night in a triple canopy jungle. I was on patrol with men who mutilated dead bodies and used their ears as chokers. One day after coming back from patrol, we were having a party, an R&R, I thought. Incoming motor rounds meant we had to take our guns and get into formation. The major sent me to the base jail when he saw me standing in formation wearing Viet Cong attire, black silk pajamas with my modified M16 grenade launcher. I left Vietnam on a commercial flight in shackles on my ankles and wrists and waist. I felt publicly humiliated as we navigated the commercial airline terminals. After my discharge, I spent a year in bed. I couldn't get mental health services. I took to the streets. When my nephew was born, I knew that my life had purpose. I spent the first 5 years of his life taking care of him. Years later, in the midst of my drug usage, he was the one who told me that I mattered to him and that he wanted to keep me alive. And now he's with me through my transitionings. He is the one responsible for my improved quality of life. To this day, I tell my nephew, "You are the son that I'll never have and the man that I'll never be." He knows the true me.
Growing up, I always felt different. Even though my mother sheltered me, the rest of my family, friends, and community made sure I was well aware of my difference. I was teased for the way I walked, talked, and for my mannerisms. At the age of 14, I set out from deep East Oakland on my bicycle, not knowing where I was going or what I was looking for. By the time I hit downtown, I came onto a neighborhood where there were young guys my age that were like me. I ran away from home. We became family. We survived through prostitution, drugs, stealing, and fighting. At one point, I looked at my life and saw it was going nowhere. My mother always installed in me the importance of education. So I went back to school and became a nurse. I worked in a hospital for 20 years. I was diagnosed with HIV when I was 25. Back then, people with HIV and AIDS were still dying like flies. I called my mom on the phone and told her. She said, "I know, you're still my child." Even though my family accepted me, I still felt disappointed within myself. I continued to punish myself with drugs and alcohol. I was still in search of who I was. Unknown since the age of 5, I wanted to be a girl. But when I was 45, I had a dream I was living as a woman, working in a hospital as a nurse. I decided it was time to transition. Through time and meeting others in my community, I learned to forgive myself. I want to be an educator, advocate, and spokesperson for people with HIV, especially the new infected and transgender of color. The world doesn't make it easy for us to make a living, but I want young transgenders to realize that prostitution is not the only way. One thing that I've learned is that being Afro-American, living with HIV, and a transgender, I'm still a strong Black woman. At this point in my life, I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm happy with me. I am in a strong, committed relationship. I'm the woman that I always wanted to be.
You're a pretty boy, but a boy nonetheless. I'd use this excuse to allow the real me to remain hidden for 18 years. When I wash away the makeup, the mask that was left would keep her under submission. San Francisco was meant to bring change to a life that had become routine, predictable, and boring. Change came beyond any of my expectations. In December 2013, the world around me came apart at the seams. In a matter of weeks, half of my belongings were stolen from me. I was sleeping on the street, and I realized history and family mean nothing to certain people. The Aloha spirit does not live here. Why would anyone in their right mind choose to become a transsexual now? Let's keep it real and finally live. Smash doubt and fear to pieces, Talia. Shred the mask for good. I'd like to start hormone replacement therapy, doctor. His face gives away everything. He looks at me like I'm an idiot, stupid for even considering the idea. How dare you? Bye, girl. I need a better doctor. In 2 days, I got him. A lifeline dressed in a pastel-colored shirt and jeans. I was a hot mess in a dress, yet his first words were, "You're beautiful." He said, "Don't worry, Talia. I'm here to walk with you on your journey towards womanhood." In an instant, I find peace. With the first shot of hormones, my world starts to right itself. Suddenly, I had broken free of what had held me prisoner, shattered the illusion that I was better off in life as a boy. I had new resolve. I am living the life I dreamt of back in Hawaii when I wasn't sure I'd make it past the age of 16. Now, I have love. Now, I have joy. Now, I have true happiness. 1100 T cells, undetectable, beauty. Time and change are the only constants. What you do with one will influence the other.